Do you understand why some people find that to be kind of a demeaning comment?
No, I find it to be a true comment. I think the only thing she's got going is the fact that she's a woman.
Donald Trump setting his sights on Hillary Clinton and discussing heavy-duty foreign policy. We will talk with Mr. Trump tonight.
I hope the people of San Francisco are finally starting to understand what has been created here by a very small group of lunatic politicians.
Folks who live in San Francisco under siege from criminals all over the city will have a factor investigation. Also tonight, Waters on the strangest websites we've ever seen. And Gutfeld McGurk on young Americans rejecting capitalism.
I'm in.
Caution, you are about to enter the no-spin zone. The factor begins right now. Hi, I'm Bill O'Reilly. Thanks for watching us tonight. Donald Trump warming up. We'll talk to him about foreign policy and the woman issue. But first, the Talking Points memo. More bad news for the American economy. Talking Points believes the main issue in the upcoming presidential race will be who Americans trust more to create good-paying jobs. On Tuesday, Bill Clinton defined the issue pretty well.
The problem is 80% of the American people are still living on what they were living on the day before the crash. And about half the American people, after you adjust for inflation, are living on what they were living on the last day I was president, 15 years ago. So that's what's the matter.
No argument. Under President Obama, earnings power has not improved. Democrats say the president is creating jobs, and the president himself puts forth this assessment of the economy.
After 8 years, what would you say you want your legacy to be?
Saving the world economy from a Great Depression, that was pretty good.
Okay, that's a subjective comment about a Great Depression, but what about improving the economy in 7.5 years, Mr. President? Well, today the Commerce Department announced that the U.S. gross domestic product grew at a paltry 0.5% in the first quarter of this year. That was the worst quarterly performance in 2 years. Now, I don't want to bore you with all the economic stuff, but the truth is, America, the world's most powerful economic engine, is off track. Simply put, workers are not earning what they should earn. Yes, the private sector has added jobs for 73 consecutive months. However, the median income remains just about the same as it was when Mr. Obama took office. No progress in nearly 8 years. In addition, the president has added nearly $9 trillion to the federal debt. He's increased it a whopping 81%, added more to the debt than any other president in history. And much of that was money spent to stimulate the economy. Memo to Bernie Sanders and Hillary Clinton: the government cannot stimulate the economy, at least in any meaningful way. The private sector must do that by investing, developing new services and products, and hiring more workers in order to make more profit. Does everybody understand that? The big government folks like President Obama and Senator Sanders are wrong, and we the people are paying the price. Summing up, the economy will be the biggest issue in this year's presidential election. The folks need better paying jobs. And that's a memo. Now for the top story tonight. Donald Trump giving a big foreign policy address yesterday in Washington. He joins us now from Evansville, Indiana. First of all, you did not mention Afghanistan in the address. We've got about 10,000 troops there right now. Place is still in chaos after 13 years. What exactly will you do about Afghanistan?
I'd stay in Afghanistan. It's probably the one place we should have gone in the Middle East because it's adjacent and right next to Pakistan, which has nuclear weapons. So I think you have to stay and do the best you can. Not that it's ever going to be great, but I don't think we have much of a choice. That's one place, frankly, instead of going to Iraq, we should have probably gone there first. But I would stay in Afghanistan, and only, again, because of its location next to Pakistan.
All right, so you'd keep the 10,000 troops there and fight a war of attrition against the Taliban. You know, Pakistan.
I hate doing it. I hate doing it so much. But again, you have nuclear weapons in Pakistan, so I would do it.
But Pakistan is no friend to the USA. In fact, the guy who helped us, the doctor who helped us, the Pakistani, get bin Laden, they put him in prison. You think you could get that doctor out?
Yes, I do. I think I would get them out in 2 minutes. I would tell them, let them out, and I'm sure they'd let them out because we give a lot of aid to Pakistan. We give a lot of money to Pakistan, and frankly, they will do. They don't have any respect for our president. But when you say they take advantage or they're no friend, nobody's a friend to us. They just take us like a bunch of suckers, Bill, and that's what my speech was about to a certain extent. It was also economic in terms of economic relative to aid and the military. But Pakistan certainly takes advantage like everybody else. Nobody's different.
All right. Now, we talked about ISIS way back in June when you were just launching your campaign. And you said last night the same thing you told me then, that you're not going to tell ISIS how you're going to defeat them. Okay.
Well, I did say, Bill, I mean, I must be honest. I've been saying for a long time I'd rather be unpredictable. You know, we're so predictable. We're sending troops. Here's where they're landing. They'll be there tomorrow. But in all fairness, I didn't want to say about the oil. I'm the one that's been saying it. I didn't want to say take the oil, keep the oil, bomb the oil. We never did it. And we're not doing it in Libya either. They just took over the Libyan oil, and they're sending it out. We're not doing a thing about it. They're becoming richer and richer because we have people that don't know what they're doing. But you know I've been saying the oil. I didn't want to say that either. I'd like to get them by surprise. But in our country, with the system that we have, eventually you have to start saying what you do. The problem is when you say that, you're giving them a lot of ideas.
But there's an implication. There's an implication to your policy, and if I'm wrong in the implication, you need to tell me. For Libya, an example, when you say that, I say if you're elected president, then you're going to send in American bombers and bomb those oil fields so they're useless to ISIS. Would I be wrong in thinking that as a voter?
Maybe a little bit wrong. I try and take the oil fields, but I will say I know ExxonMobil. I know many of the great oil companies. They can get in there. They can. It's amazing how quickly they can get that stuff.
But they can't defeat these ISIS people, private companies. So you'd have to send in American ground troops, which I think you're going to have to do anyway.
Yeah, we will have to bomb, and we may have to do something, but we'll have to bomb, and we're going to have to get people in the region, or we'll have to bomb and just keep the oil. I've been saying keep the oil for years. But
okay, but in order to get the oil, you have to defeat the guys on the ground who are now running the oil fields, and that's going to require American Special Forces, paratroopers, airborne, all of that to go in and beat these guys on the ground. So again, implication. I'm thinking you're saying you're going to send in ground troops to defeat ISIS in Syria and Libya. Is it? No?
Bill. Or we're going to use our so-called allies. We don't have such great allies between us, okay, and between the rest of the world.
We're going to have to lead.
We don't have such great allies. In theory, they're always saying, oh, we'll use our allies, but our allies, we give them all the equipment, we give them the beautiful Humvees and the new rifles and everything else, and the first shot is fired in the air and they start running. So that's our allies. But we are going to have to do something. At least with oil, we have something tangible. We should have never gone to Iraq, but when we got out, we should have kept the oil.
Okay, but again, correct me if I'm wrong, and I don't want to. It sounds to me like President Trump would use ground troops to some extent to A, seize oil from ISIS, and B, kill them.
Well, two things. Number one, I want the oil. Number two, I'd send as few in as possible, and I would try and use other people if possible, except they just don't seem to have the capability. They don't seem to have the capability to do it.
You're going to have to send U.S. people in with them. You know, there's only 6,000 ISIS fighters.
Bill, we got to get the oil. We got to get the oil because that's their source of wealth. Now, they also get a lot of wealth through the banking channels. You have to call them the dark banking channels, and they're getting a lot of wealth through there. People don't even know about it, but they are. But the oil is the main thing. We got to cut off the oil, and we got to keep the oil. Not give it right back to them. We got to keep the oil.
All right, now, Putin, you're on record as saying that you believe you can convince him to be a friend to America, but obviously he's expanding.
No, I'm not. I'm not saying that. I'm saying that I think I'd possibly have a good relationship. I don't know. I think he said some really nice things. He called me a genius. He said Trump's a genius. Okay. So, you know, that's nice. That's not going to persuade me one way or the other. I had people on the debate stage that said, get him to disavow it. Get him. I said, why would I do that? But no, he's been very nice to me. But let me just tell you, I have no idea, Bill. Maybe we will. Maybe we won't. If we can make a great deal for our country and get along with Russia, that would be a tremendous thing.
So you would try détente?
I would love to try it.
You would try it?
I would certainly try.
Do you have a stick in case Putin is unreasonable, which he is known to be?
Well,
do you have a stick?
You know, we always have a stick. We have the economy. We have certain things that are advantages. I mean, we do have this.
All right. All you have to do is cut off credit card receipts. All you have to do is cut off
Including
American
with
banking
China.
credit cards, and he's done. Okay, China.
Bill, including with China.
Well,
we have
good. I'm glad you
tremendous
brought
power
China
with
up.
China because they suck our money out, they suck our jobs out. We have rebuilt China. You look at the bridges, the roads, the train systems, the airports they have. It's like we're now a third world country.
Okay,
they took that, and much of it came out of our country.
But here's the deal. If you tee the Chinese off by a trade war or slapping tariffs on their products coming in here, they'll be less inclined to help you with North Korea. And that was one of the things you mentioned in your policy address, that you're going to mobilize China to help. I know. But how are you ever going to get China to help us neutralize North Korea if you saber rattle in the trade area?
By telling them, if you don't help us, it's going to be over. We're just going to not going to be able to do it.
So you're going to threaten them?
We have a trade deficit, Bill. It's not a threat. It's a fact, okay? We have a trade deficit of $505 billion a year with China. They are just ripping us left and right. And on top of it, they won't help us with North Korea. Because who wants to get into that fight? They won't help us. They can solve that. North Korea, believe it or not, is concerned with China, okay? They are truly concerned with China. China has power over North Korea. North Korea could solve that problem in one day, in one meeting, probably in one phone call. North Korea should behave, and China can make them behave. China doesn't do it because they're tweaking us. They have no respect for President Obama, and they have no respect for our country. And yet we are the ones that really recreated China. Economically, they took our money, they took our jobs. You know, we owe them right now $1.8 trillion, okay? So they take our jobs, they take our money, and we owe them money.
Right.
So we have a lot of power, but we don't know how to use it.
Okay.
We don't have a president that knows how to deal.
All right. So we're going to hold you over. I want to talk about Hillary Clinton and the women issue. That should be interesting. Then later, city of San Francisco being devastated by crime. Are the folks